This week on Channel 8 News, we'll look at grocery bingo, Palms renovations, the Jazz Festival, Franken renovations, and more. Channel 8 News starts right now. Thank you for tuning in to Channel 8 News. I'm Alex Sanchez.
And I'm Shannon Clement. Molly Gardner got the inside scoop on what's going on at the Palms. Molly?
After the ice storm that has hit northwest Missouri this past week, I was able to talk to Mike Sepperly, who is the Emergency Management Coordinator for Northwest Missouri State University. He says when a storm is in the forecast, there are many factors that go into whether or not classes will be canceled.
One of the things is monitoring. There's 3 different areas on campus that monitor conditions. University police, they're kind of the first line. They're out 24/7, so they have a good indication of the roads, the conditions, and things of that nature, and so they see things when they're starting to develop. Facility services, of course, they're responsible for the grounds, for the roads, for the sidewalks, parking lots, and that nature. Maintaining that they're open, maintaining they're safe. And then emergency management. But then one of the things I do is I coordinate a lot of these monitoring efforts. I visit with those folks. I visit with Maryville Public Safety Department. I visit with Nottoway County Sheriff's Department as well. Missouri Department of Transportation, Nottoway County Sheriff's Department. I visit with these folks to find out what are the conditions they're experiencing. Are they having any slick conditions? Are they having issues, people going off the ditches, things of that nature? And then I try to compile all that information as we start moving forward. And as we get closer to that expected weather condition, I'm providing this information constantly to the president.
Sepperly adds that if a storm is coming in overnight, there is a lot of work that is to be done before a call is made, whether to cancel classes or not.
My reports to the president are 9 p.m. If it's happening overnight, it's 9 p.m., midnight, and 3 a.m. But what I do in that process is I start putting together forecasts, what's out there, what's seen, what's the radar looking like, and then I contact university police, I contact facility services, I contact Maryville Public Safety, Missouri Department of Transportation, and try to compile all these reports to give it to the president at that 9 p.m. Then I start all over, do it all over again because those forecasts change. Try to compile it, put it all together for the midnight report, and then start all over. So generally, if it's a nighttime event, there's a lot of folks that really probably don't get a lot of sleep. I'm one of them, but again, the facility services folks, they come in, if university police is out and they notice something slick, or if they get a complaint something slick, they're calling facilities, and they're coming out, putting down salt or sand or whatever they need to, but they're here on all hours of the night, and again, if they're scheduled to, they'll come in at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to start preparing campus for student arrivals.
Sepperly also adds that if you do not feel comfortable driving in these weather conditions, to stay home.
We always stress that. I mean, if you have to go to the grocery store, you have to go to the doctor's office for anything like that, you're always responsible for your own safety. And we want to highlight that and take those conditions. And when the weather gets tricky like it has been with the ice in snow, it could be, it's going to take longer. You may need to go out and clear your car. Make sure your windows are clear. Make sure that the ice is off of it. And then take extra time. Don't drive the normal speed limit. You need to slow down and take precautions. Then ultimately evaluate it. If you don't feel you can make it safely, by all means don't. Notify folks, let your instructors know that, I can't make it, I don't feel that I can make it. And, they're going to work with you, and they're going to help you try to make up any information, any lost time in class, and, any assignments. So we want you to be safe, and we want you to arrive alive.
To keep up to date on weather happening in Maryville, visit the National Weather Service at www.weather.gov. Reporting for Channel 8 News, I'm Molly Gardner.
Thanks, Molly.
When we come back, we'll take a look at your Northwest Event Report. Don't go away. Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Alex Sanchez.
And I'm Shannon Clement, and this is your Northwest Event Report.
On Tuesday, February 27th from 12 to 12:45 p.m. in the Union Alumni Dining Room, weekly meditation time takes place. Students and employees are invited to participate in a free meditation time offered twice a week by the university's wellness services. Individuals who are new to the meditation are asked to arrive at the start time for a brief overview of the practice of meditation. Returning participants or those already familiar with the practice of meditation may arrive 15 minutes after the start time, when the period of meditation begins.
On Wednesday, February 28th from 2:30 to 4 p.m. in the Library Lounge, room 108, join students, faculty, and staff from across campus in an informal setting to actively engage and interact with each other during an international coffee hour.
On Wednesday, February 28th from 5 to 6 p.m. in Colden Hall, room 3500, join the homecoming committees to learn about how to get involved with various events and the planning process of homecoming.
On Thursday, March 1st from 5 to 6 p.m. in the Union Boardroom, all students are invited to attend SAC's weekly meeting. The Student Activities Council plans and administers activities for Northwest students to contribute to a more well-rounded social, recreational, and cultural life for the campus and community.
On Friday, March 2nd, from 3 to 4 p.m. in the Library Lounge Room 108, join students and faculty for another rendition First Friday Culture Talks. Students from around the world discuss their cultures and traditions and breaking down stereotypes.
On Saturday, March 3rd at 6:30 p.m. in the Union Ballroom, experience a cultural celebration through music, art, food, and more in a taste of Africa. Tickets are $10 and must be reserved before Saturday, February 24th by visiting the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in the Student Engagement Center on the second floor of the Union, or you can call 660-562-1317.
Well, that's all we have for your Northwest and Rev Report. When we come back, we'll take a look at some more recent news and events. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Alex Sanchez.
And I'm Shannon Clement.
Angela Luna had the opportunity to attend Northwest Jazz Festival last weekend. Let's take a look.
Many people were in attendance for the Northwest Theater Department's spring production of Still Life of Iris. I sat down with actors Haley Vernon and Cordell Fonfera about the play.
Okay, so the play is based in Nocturno, which is this fantasy world where people will live. It's kind of, it parallels our world as our own, and in the world of Nocturno, there are people who are assigned different jobs that help create different things in the world. Like there's a flower painter, we have a bug sculptor who creates all the different bugs in the world, and a fog lifter, the daybreaker, who raises the sun and takes the moon away at night. Or in the morning, and stuff like that. And there's this island with the rulers, which are basically the king and queen of Nocturno, and they're the Great Goods, Grotto and Greta, and they require only the best of things on their island, and they hear that Iris is a really great girl, so they have their henchman, Mr. Matternot, come take her.
This little girl, Iris, is pretty magical. She can find things really easily, and she gets taken by these evil people who try to make her forget her past, and she goes on this whole journey of trying to figure out who she is. I think the most memorable part was when Iris finally finds her mom again, and there's this moment where she's like, Iris! And I go, Mom, and then they hug, and it's just so sweet.
The cast are all student actors. Not only did they rehearse for Still Life, but they also learned how to balance other shows.
We rehearsed, so we shared this with 3 different shows. One of the shows was the show I directed. So we rehearsed like back to back to back with 2 other shows. So it'd be like, we'd go from one rehearsal to the next rehearsal to the next rehearsal. Every night, and that was from 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night. So it was 5 straight hours of rehearsal. And then for many weeks we did 6 to 9 rehearsals every night. And it was really hard to play a child like you wouldn't think it is, but you have to get into the right headspace, and you have to just be free and really commit to your character.
Fonfera talks about the difficulty of a children's show and what his favorite part of the play.
you need a lot of energy to perform in a children's theater show because you need to be able to make it real enough for the audience to believe, because if you don't believe, then your audience isn't going to, especially an audience full of children, because they can definitely spot a liar from the audience. I just had a really great experience working on this show, and it's great to work with some of the cast members for the very last time.
Still Life of Iris was a hit with the crowd. The actor's hard work and long hours have paid off. Reporting for Channel 8 News, I'm Angela Luna.
Thanks, Angela.
Thanks, Jasani.
When we come back, we'll take a look at some national headlines. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Shannon Clement.
And I'm Alex Sanchez.
Students all over the nation are walking out of classes to support the shooting survivors. So far, students from Minnesota, Arizona, Florida, Colorado, and more have been leaving school. They're forming marches for gun control. On Twitter, an account was created for Student Walkout Against Gun Violence. The beginnings of the walks occurred last Wednesday. There are 2 more walkouts to be held, one on March 14th at 10 a.m. and one on April 20th at 10 a.m. The walkouts are to try and to get change to happen with pro-gun legislation. Our CNN affiliate has this story.
7 Skyforce overhead as groups of students from West Boca High School march nearly 11 miles to send a message about gun violence Tuesday afternoon.
We want something to change.
We can't just sit in silence. We need to actually take action.
The teens passing the home of the accused school shooter on their way to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, where a memorial is growing for the victims.
The pain that we're feeling right now will never be the same as the family's pain. And I want them to know that I did this for them.
They joined mourners close to the tragedy, some parents of high school-aged kids who lost their best friends in the horrific shooting. Amy talks about 14-year-old Alex Schachter.
He's in my home. I mean, he's in pictures in my house. No, I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't.
It's heart-wrenching. I can't tell you how many times I've cried just driving by. It's like, it's the families. I mean, if you have children, we live for them. Everything we do is for them, and.
Each life senselessly taken, marked with flowers, notes, pictures, balloons, and stuffed animals outside their school. Tyra, a student survivor, held a poster pushing for stronger gun control.
I've not been able to actually process a thought without thinking of my friends being gone and how I get to live and they didn't. It's not fair, but I'm here for them and I'm gonna fight for them. And me fighting for them is taking charge on gun control.
In a little more than a year, I will be able to vote, and so will hundreds more of us. We are capable of doing so much. Today proves that. So please take your voice. Use it today, use it tomorrow. Don't let the 17 victims die in vain. Honor them by enacting change.
At least 250 civilians have been killed in 2 days of relentless bombardment of eastern Ghouta in Syria, prompting warnings that the regime of Bashar al-Assad is preparing to crush the rebel-held enclave. More than 1,200 people were wounded by constant shelling of the besieged area outside Damascus. Doctors said medics were working around the clock treating hundreds of injured people, but medical supplies were already in short supply due to a years-long siege of the area that began in 2012. Now, Syrian regime forces are accelerating their offensive against the suburb, one of the last rebel-controlled areas in the country. The other countries have begun speaking out on the Syrian government to stop the shelling. Our CNN affiliate has the story. Let's take a look.
It's known as the double tap, a deliberate, heartless exercise. The dust from the first bomb had barely settled before the second one landed. Children panicked, cry out for their father. But there's no time to wait, no time to look, only time to run and try and stay alive. With the intensity of the recent bombing, most spend their time underground in makeshift shelters. It's disgusting, suffocating. Children get sick, but the hospitals are all getting bombed. Childhood is not even a reflection of what it should be, and yet these kids' giggles reverberate almost surreally through tunnels carved out in the ground. Play games familiar to most of us under circumstances we cannot even pretend to imagine. We wish for aid, for help here in Ghouta. We're hungry. Let them understand this little girl pleads. In another reality, in what may as well be a world away, it's not that no one heard her cry, or any of the others. It's that once again, the powers that control Syria's fate betrayed it. Syria's story, one that is on a grisly repeat. A mother bids her son goodbye. She's already been through this. Hi to your brother Talal, she tells his bloodied corpse. Tell him you died the same way he did. The civil defense team posted this video to Twitter, begging people to try to put themselves in the shoes of the father whose son they are looking for. You hear sort of an anguished, low cry, and the question, is he alive? Miraculously, the child is. There are no words for this, or perhaps new ones will need to be created that can describe the magnitude of the death, despair, and heartbreak, and how we utterly failed Syria. Arwa Damon, CNN, Istanbul.
As a nurse for nearly 30 years at Jackson Health System in Miami, Florida, Oliver Castellano has noticed that many of his patients are homeless. Far too many patients are being released from the hospital without even the barest of necessities. Wanting to help, Castellano figured out that clothes and shoes would be most beneficial to these men and women. So he started a collection at the hospital of clothing and shoes from his home that he was planning to give away. News about his project spread, and Castellano's small clothing pile is now a full-scale closet. Castellano knew he was making a difference when he gave a pair of shoes to a man whose shoes had been misplaced. Castellano said he got so emotional, the man smiles and explained that the shoes he was receiving were far better than the ones he had walked in with. Castellano has no plans to stop stocking the closet and clothing for other patients in need.
Those who are visiting the Olympic Park in South Korea will have the opportunity to try out the several different Olympic events through virtual reality using 5G technology. Our CNN affiliate has a story. Let's take a look.
You've been watching Olympic athletes at the top of their game, the sacrifice, the dedication. You're feeling a little bit inspired. That's where this comes in, the Olympic Park. Oh, I can't do it. This is the cross country, and it is hard. It's really exhausting. But these virtual reality experiences mean that you can be one of the Olympic athletes. Although I think I've got a fair way to go.
You move it up and down, the torch and the screen also moves up and down, left and right. You move your head, the screen moves left and right. If you move your body, the treadmill part will move you left and right when you're actually doing the experience.
Okay.
KT says in this VR experience, motion sensor data and video image transmission use the 5G network, a network KT plans to commercialise by next year.
So this is the skeleton. I was quite tempted to give this one a miss, but the rest of the team decided I should do it. Thank you, David. Thank you, Taehun. What this is going head first down an icy track at speeds of up to 130 kilometers an hour. Head first with your arms behind you. Okay?
Yeah. Up with the straps.
Okay.
All right. All right, you're good to go.
Whoa! So this is apparently based on a track in Vancouver, Canada. Oh, this is fast. Which is apparently one of the fastest sliding tracks in the world. Oh, this just goes against every instinct you have. Head first, and not putting your hands out to stop yourself. That was unbelievable. I mean, I just can't believe people do that. It's quite fun though.
A 90-metre ski jump, designed on the Olympic ski jump here in Pyeongchang.
I think we can all agree that is the closest I will ever get to competing in the Olympics. It's been fun. Paula Hancock. Cox, CNN, Gangnam, South Korea.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week.
For more information on stories that matter to you, like us on Facebook at /KNWT8 or follow us on Twitter at KNWT8News.
Northwest Sessions is up next. From all of us here at Channel 8 News, I'm Shannon Clement.
And I'm Alex Sanchez. Have a good night.